Greetings and welcome to the Leap Lifestyle Podcast. I'll be your host today, Christopher White. I'd like to welcome everyone to another amazing day, another amazing show. And I'm looking forward to another community member we have here with us today. She does some work in the community in the hospital, and she's going to share her experience with us today. And I'm looking forward to hearing all that she has to share. And with that said, I'd like to welcome Dom to our show. Dom, welcome, and thank you for joining us.
Hello.
Hey, it's nice to meet you and finally face to face and get a chance to share and hear your story. For everyone out there, I'm Chris, and this is the Leap Lifestyle Podcast. So, Dom, how's your day going today?
Good so far.
Good so far. That's good to hear. A little rainy looking today, a little dreary, but it was one of those days I really wanted to kind of rest in because it was like super like raining today, but that's neither here nor there. So I'd like to hear a little bit about some of your experiences in our community. And I was told by one of my colleagues that you went to OCC and you are currently a med tech at one of our local hospitals. So I'd like to hear a little bit about like how you got into wanting to be a med tech and what led you to that path.
Yes, so I always knew I wanted to help people, but I didn't know if I could be a nurse because I didn't really want a lot of patient contact. So one day at OCC, I was just in the hallway and they were discussing this career where you can help people, but from the background. So my ears perked up and I started listening about it, and I ended up just doing 2 years at OCC. I had a great team like that helped me at OCC to get me ready to transfer to Upstate Medical University for the med tech program. It took 4 years, bachelor's degree, and I get to help people from the background now, and I love it.
Right. Yeah. So share with me a little bit about some of that, some of your experiences at OCC. So you said initially, what was your first course of study? What were you interested in
So
first?
I went to OCC having no idea what I wanted to do.
Right.
I thought I wanted to be a teacher, which I learned I love kids, but I learned real quick that I didn't want to do that.
Right.
And it actually took me 3 years there because I just kept changing my mind, not knowing what I wanted to do, just taking random classes. And then I finally realized, like, okay, I just don't want to have contact with people, but I want to help them. I was like, and I do want to be in the medical field because, there's always jobs in hospitals. You'll always have a job in the medical field.
Right.
So, after changing my mind a million times, I finally decided I'm going to do something with the sciences and just started taking my prerequisites for that.
Okay. So what was that like getting lined up into the medical field? Were there some challenges like with some of the course study, like the math or biology?
Yes. I've always loved science, not math so much, which is weird because you think those two things go together.
Right.
Yes, it was really, really hard. I remember making my schedule and I had someone come up to me and she was looking at my grades. Her name is Maddie. I wish I still had her contact. She was my counselor at OCC, and she was just like, you have really, really good grades. Like, I was like, yeah. She was like, are you like Hispanic? Are you like, what, where are you from? And I'm like, yeah. She was like, oh, well, you can come over here to H.O.P. Like, we have a program that'll help you with scholarships. I'll help you get your schedule together, everything. And she gave me her number, and she's like, show up tomorrow. And I did. She helped me do everything. She wrote my letter of recommendation. She actually got a scholarship at OCC, which was very helpful. And if it wasn't for her, it'd be a lot harder. So I got connected with the right people.
All right. So definitely a shout out to, you said H.E.O.P.
Mm-hmm.
So definitely a shout out to them, helping out the people that need the help. So she was able to kind of get you in line. So like after she helped you, now talk about some of the transition from OCC, like from that kind of level to more. Yeah.
OCC was more prerequisite. So it was still a small school. So, it was hard, but it was doable.
Right.
And then after I got into Upstate, I actually had to take an organic chemistry class the summer before because I found out I got in like a week before.
Okay.
I had to hurry up and take a class, hardest class I've ever took of my life. I passed it. When I actually got into upstate, it was a whole different world because like
Right.
we were in health professions, but I'm in a school where there's like nurses, doctors, imaging. It was a
It
lot.
was intense.
And there was only about 24 people in our program, and I just had to adjust. I mean, my son was about 2 when
Oh,
I started, so juggling that and it and work, it was hard, but I mean, time management, and I got it done.
right, right. So like now can you talk a little bit about like the social aspect for you maybe if like when you were at school so you went from OCC and you went to upstate, is that correct?
Yes,
Okay,
upstate
so you
medical.
went to upstate. So what was that like culturally? Like were there groups of people that were like you? Were there more groups of people that weren't like you? Were you able to?
Um, I keep to myself a lot, but
Okay,
surprisingly, like if there was a variety of people in my program.
okay,
Um, I yeah, there were, I mean, people from everywhere. I had people from California, all over the world. But I mean, I didn't stay on campus. I was home, but
okay,
I felt pretty. It was a good diversity of people, which I was surprised, but it was good.
okay. So what was the so if you were to so say there was someone in the same situation as you found yourself in, they have a young kid and they're just starting this program. What is something that you would kind of share with them to try to maybe keep them focused and on task?
I would say don't give up because
Right,
there was many times that I literally just was like, I can't do this.
right,
So, and I mean, if you have a village around you, like I have a really good support system. My mom
okay,
helped out a lot, my dad, my brother. So I would say just stay focused and manage your time.
right,
Like
right.
just put aside time for yourself, aside or time for school, time for entertainment. Just time management is the biggest thing for me and not giving up.
Okay,
Like
yeah.
I could not fail. So when you just look at it like I can't fail, there's no room for failure, then you're gonna do it.
Right. No, yeah, I agree with that wholeheartedly. And thank you for sharing that because I think a lot of times, when things do get challenging, it's easy to give up, right? Like it's really easy to give up and it can be hard. So thank you for that. Okay. So now you're doing the school thing, right? Like, and you kind of got your pattern set and you're doing your thing. So now, like, at what point is it that you're saying, okay, I'm going to be a medical tech and this is what I'm definitely doing?
Well, at Upstate, like I was saying, it was really, really hard, and I kind of had to choose because there's a lot of different areas you can go into: chemistry, microbiology, blood bank. So when I started learning about microbiology, which that's where I work now, that's the part of the lab I work in. That's when
Okay.
I was like, oh, this is my favorite. This is what I
Right.
want to do. I was very, very interested. I was like, okay, this is it. Like
Okay.
once I found out in the variety of things I could do what I wanted to do, I was like, yeah, I'm gonna do this.
Okay, so like now in this field that you currently find yourself in, what are some of the challenges within the field for you right now today?
Well, when COVID hit, that's really when it got real. I mean, right out of school, it's a lot of critical thinking, it's a lot of learning. When you're new, you're kind of just asking people for help all the time, troubleshooting until you feel comfortable to do it on your own. And
Right,
I've been doing it about 9 years, so now I'm there. Now I'm kind of training people. I'm teaching them. Like it's funny how it's full circle now,
right.
but when COVID happened, it was a whole different story because the microbiology lab did all the testing, and the whole world was not
Shut
know,
down.
like, knowing what was going on. I
Right,
was nervous because I'm like, I don't want to get sick and bring it to my mom or my son.
right,
We didn't know where we were going to do the testing, sending. It was probably one of the most stressful times of my life.
right, right. Yeah,
So I would say that was the hardest. But when we got through it, I was like, oh, I'm a better tech than I
right,
thought. It was
right.
a lot. It was confidence building once we got through it.
Okay, so yeah, okay, so can you talk about like okay, so like what were some of the things that were required of you like in a like what does a day look like for you, I guess, so I can kind of wrap my head around like what a medical tech is doing.
Yeah, so I do bacteria testing and PCR testing. So if you go in and you get a cut and the doctor swabs it and sends the specimen to me, we put them on these dishes that help the bacteria grow, and then it takes a day to grow, and then I'll test it. I'll let the doctor know like, hey, this person has E. coli.
Right.
and then give them a sensitivity with what they could use to treat them. Or I'll say this person has staph or MRSA, so I'm just letting the doctors know what the bacteria is that's causing the infection and what they can use to treat them. We work with pharmacy a lot too, because but pharmacy and nurses and the doctors, like, we're just in the background giving them the numbers so that they can make the decisions. So I'll do that. I'll also go out in the front. I'm answering phones. I'm, troubleshooting. A nurse collected something wrong. I'm explaining to her how to do it.
Right.
On top of that, then the COVIDs are coming in. So you're multitasking all day.
Right.
You're just timers going off. It's just, it could be a crazy day and it's never the same thing. But
Right.
that's kind of about it.
Right. Okay. So like, yeah, that, I mean, to me that sounds fairly interesting because I mean, you're saying, okay, so a guy comes in, he gets his blood drawn, you're throwing the blood in the petri dishes, letting it grow a day, then you're running it back under your microscopes and checking out what's there.
Hmm.
And then after you do all of this, you're saying to the doctor, "Hey, look, this is what this guy may have. This is what I saw." The doctor looks and he says, "Yeah, yeah, yeah, I agree," or whatever, and then that person is treated accordingly, and that's how
Yes.
that goes.
I think the statistic last I checked was about 80% of the decisions that physicians make are based on our lab testing.
Mm,
So
wow.
it's you have to know what you're doing, because if I could, heaven forbid, give the wrong number out or the wrong bacteria out and they treat them with the wrong drug, like, someone could really get hurt.
Hurt.
So yeah,
Right.
it could be stressful sometimes, but I have a lot of experience now where I can just look at something and say, oh, that's E. coli. This is
Right.
what you do. It takes it's very specialized.
Right, right, and it sounds right, like, and it sounds like the specialization comes from seeing a number of different things,
Oh yeah.
obviously, right?
Yeah.
So could you share like some of those challenges, like staying current in your field and how to like maybe take the next step in your field if there is one. I'm not sure. I don't know.
Yes. So we have to be licensed. I'm ASCP licensed, so I
Okay.
actually just recertified. We have to take CE credits throughout the year because the things change so much in my profession, especially with technology.
Okay.
Like,
Now before you hold on, before you go now, CE, that's continuing education credits.
yes,
Okay.
yes. So even though I'm in micro, I still have to keep up on all that other stuff that I don't do.
Right.
So we have to do about 36 hours every 2 years. And if you don't get if you have to do it every 2 years, and if not, you can't be a med tech. Like, you have to keep it up.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah, yeah. I actually just finished mine, but
Okay.
and I know you can even in micro specialize a little further. But I mean, I'm kind of okay what I'm doing now. But
Okay.
you can specialize even more, like get a master's degree and go higher.
Right, right. So now like are there a lot of people is like in this field particularly, is it a field that's like people they need more people to come in, they like what?
Yes, yes, absolutely. A lot of like the real old school techs are retiring.
Okay.
So yeah. I mean, and I'm not this that's the thing. A lot of people don't know what we do. They
Right.
just they assume, like, I wear scrubs at work, they assume I'm a nurse. They have no idea what we do. They have no idea what's happening.
Right.
So yes, like, we're always trying to get new techs, train them, and like I said, it's specialized. So it takes a long time to get where I'm at now.
Right.
So yeah, we're always looking for more techs.
Right. No, yeah, and I could imagine, right, like almost with any medical field. That's why I really wanted to speak to you to kind of get someone who's inside doing the work and they can speak to
Mhm.
like, like, yeah, this is a field in which a lot of people don't know about. Like I'm like you said, I go to the doctors here. I got a young kid, she's 6, so we go and we get blood. And like you said, nobody really knows or understands what happens there. So like I'd like to thank you for your service obviously, and thank you for sharing with us too. But before we go any further, I would also like to know, so if you're working like on a regular day, you come in and like now the down do you work directly with the doctors, or is it more like a like you kind of do your own thing and then you meet with the doctors?
Yeah, we don't see the doctors at all.
Okay.
Sometimes infection prevention, they'll come up and actually want to talk to us, but no, we're in our own section of the lab. That's kind of why no one really knows what we do either, because we're in our own section. We don't really have any contact with nurses or doctors, only over the phone, unless there's a problem.
Okay, so like, all right, so like, what are some of the like some of the weirdest kinds of like infections or any kind of like what's some of the weirdest stuff you've seen
Wow.
in your work?
So when I first started, like bacteria and the bugs are getting smarter.
Okay,
So they're becoming more resistant, meaning like antibiotics that used to work aren't working anymore.
okay,
So when I first started, we wouldn't see these MDROs and ESBLs, just like bugs that are like really, really hard to treat. So now it's just a common thing.
now when
Like
you say
all
hard to treat, you mean hard to kill?
yes, yes,
Okay,
like they'll be trying tons of antibiotics to try to, treat the patient and it's not working. So now they're having to use like stronger drugs that actually could be harmful to your body, but they're trying to balance out is it good? Are we okay to try that? Like it's a balancing act, and these
mm-hmm.
bugs are getting really really smart,
Okay, so like,
especially with COVID. Like you've seen all these different COVID. What was the other one? Omicron. There's so many
right.
variants. Like the viruses, they're smart too. It's crazy. It's kind of scary when you think about it.
Okay, yeah, yeah, yeah. And I'm interested in that a little bit too though. Like so now when you guys are coming across these resistant bacterias, like so what are some of the methods that you guys use to like find out like what exactly can kill it? Like knowing now that like we can't use
Yeah.
the antibiotics.
So it's called susceptibility testing.
Okay.
So we have like these little cards that have like gradients of antibiotics in them, and we test the bacteria against it to see if it grows or not.
Okay.
So if it grows, then you can't use that antibiotic, it didn't kill it.
Okay.
So you're testing all different kinds of antibiotics, and that's more kind of in the pharmacy end of
Right.
it that I'm not that versed in, but we just give them the number. So we're testing it against antibiotics to see if it grows or not, and we're hoping it doesn't. So we'll
Right.
know, okay, this antibiotic's good.
Good.
So we do it on instruments, and we also, if the instrument's not working, we'll do it like manually on these other discs, and
Okay.
we'll put the bug on there, and then actually put the antibiotic disc on and measure to see, okay, this will work or this won't work.
Okay, so what would you say a person needs to have his skills or her skills most which area? Would it be the sciences, mathematics, which
Um, more science because a lot of the math stuff is done on the instruments or done in the computer.
okay.
But I would say you have to critical think.
Right.
Nothing is 100%, and you have to like question things a lot. If something, and like I'll look at something and it'll say this is E. coli, and I can look at it and say like it's absolutely is not. That's why our job can't be automated. You have
Right.
to think, you have to question, you have to ask your colleagues, you have to just you can't just assume things. You
Right.
have to
And
be
and the reason for that is because you don't you're saying don't assume because why? Like I want to better understand what you're saying.
so like when you first get out of school, they'll teach you like gram-positive cocci look like this, and
Okay.
you memorize it for the test.
Right.
But real life, I can look at something and it could be called, it could be calling it a gram positive, but I'll know from experience that's not. Something didn't work. We have to restart it. You have to know when to catch that mistake. And
Right.
that's where training comes. Because from school is very textbook, but
Right.
in real life, like you have to think with a questioning attitude a lot.
Right. Okay. So question everything. Okay. I
Yeah,
like
most
that.
of the time things are pretty straightforward, but it's those couple times a day where you have to be like, okay, something's not right here. Let's look at it together, and oh, then we'll notice, oh, we put it on the wrong plate, or they put this wrong in the computer, which can happen a lot too, or the nurse collected it wrong. So you just have to catch things sometimes.
Okay, so yeah, you got to really be on your toes. So
Yes.
okay, so in this current field, like what are you personally excited about like for the future of this field? Like are there things that you maybe are looking forward to here?
Yes, I mean, COVID put a lot more responsibility on the micro lab.
Okay.
Molecular things are definitely going into molecular and PCR testing, and a lot less hands-on stuff and more just you need a little bit of sample and you can find out what something is really quick. You just
Mm,
have to be really good with your technique.
right.
So I think just I like how technology is changing, and like back in the day it would take a day to let someone know they have E. coli.
Right.
Now I can let them know in 20 minutes. It's
Wow.
like,
Yeah.
yeah, I like how things have progressed in over just 9 years.
Right.
Because a lot of people I work with who are really old school techs, they're like, what we're doing now, I would have never thought of.
Right. Yeah, we didn't see it coming. We didn't see it coming.
So yeah, I mean, it's something new every couple months, and
Yeah.
I like it.
Right, right. Well, Dom, I'd like to thank you for sharing your time with
Yeah.
me. And like I said, it always goes by fast. But thank you again. This has been the Leap Lifestyle Podcast. We've been talking with Dom. She's given us her time, and we just like to say thank you. If there's anybody you'd like to shout out or anything you'd like to say in closing,
Shout out to Reggie
okay. Shout out to
because
Reggie.
um, I always talk about what I do at work, and
Hmm.
he thinks it's interesting, and he thought I needed to get out there. And
Right. Yeah, and
Reggie,
he's right. He's absolutely right. So again, thank you, Dom, and we all hope to hear from you soon. Maybe in a year or
yeah,
so, we could do an update. Maybe not that long.
yeah,
Who knows? All right. So thank you for your time, and you have an amazing
yes,
day. And to
you,
everybody out there, peace.
you too.